Hi everyone, Lindsey here. I'm with Mike Harlington of the CTA. We are here at Warsaw, Poland, the European Health, Nutrition and Wellness Program and CBD program. So Mike, could you tell us about the CTA?
The CTA is the largest cannabinoid-specific association in the world. Over 1,000 members from 36 countries and growing on a daily basis. Some of our members are standard CBD industry, some of our members are some of the first people established in the medicinal cannabis industry. We have members from all walks of life, and by volume, our membership sold nearly $3 billion worth of product last year.
Wow. And could you tell us a little bit more about why now? Why is CBD really popular right now? I know in your presentation yesterday you mentioned, especially in the past 4 years, you've seen...
So I think there are a number of things that are contributing to what's happening. Number one is that public perception is growing, that public understanding is growing, and obviously it's grown to such a point where it's not being ignored now. I think part of that as well is particularly in Europe in 2016 when government agencies that weren't the Home Office got involved with it, wanting to understand more. It actually did the industry a great favour by bringing it even more to the public's attention. So there was already a good head of steam 2016, but a small industry certainly in the UK and Europe. And since then, obviously, we've seen massive sales, massive jumps in the industry, and it's just continued to grow. Why now? I think it's just the perfect storm.
And I know, like yesterday, you talked a lot about rules and regulation and why compliance is so important. So could you go into a little bit more about that?
The CBD industry was almost put out of business back in 2016 because people were making medicinal claims for products that were either foods, cosmetics or vapes. And in Europe, obviously, we can't do that. It's just not allowed. The health agencies just will not allow us to do it. And because we have quite a different mentality and quite a different outlook on how things are done in Europe as well, we don't quite as such have the same attitude towards certainly cannabis and things like that there are in, for example, the States. And so as an organisation, we've always been very much focused towards rules and regulations and making sure that people do as they're supposed to do. Part of that was obviously dealing with medicinal claims and making sure that they didn't happen. And when we first met the MHRA, they essentially asked us, could we clean up the industry, could we stop the medicinal claims, which we did within a month or so. And since then it's proved that we're an organisation that can do what we say we can do. Obviously with the explosion of sellers, we sometimes struggle with that, but overall I think we're getting past the Wild West and starting to come out the other side with a proper regulated industry. And I think the other part of that is we've never argued with the authorities, we'll always work with them. When we've worked with them, we find we get better results than by going, no, we're not going to do that. There are exceptions to that rule, of course, but generally speaking, we've always tried to work with the authorities, and as part of that, we've got a lot more respect than some other organisations have, and they generally come to us first. And so they'll ask us to do something, they'll ask for our input, and then they'll adjust the rules to fit. There are, of course, exceptions to that rule, but it's generally speaking been the way they worked. And because we were the first in the industry essentially to do what we do and to offer legal representation, it's always meant that we have a very close tie-in with pretty much every European country. And certainly while we've been dealing with the novel foods issue, we've actually visited and been in touch with pretty much every single food standards or food safety authority throughout Europe to start working on the novel issue. And so we have a good amount of support and a good amount of rapport.
Good, good. And what would you say is to come in the CBD industry? I know in the presentation you said it's growing every month.
Since January, the market's actually slowed to a manageable level. Till January, we were trading at around 8% growth month on month, every month without fail. Since January, that's actually slowed down. It's between 4 and 6% depending. But again, month on month, it's still growing. There are so many people in the market now, certainly in Europe, that while certain companies are contracting, other companies are expanding rapidly, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. If I was to hold my crystal ball up, I would say that the CBD industry as a whole is going to have to do quite a lot of work over the next 12 and 20 to 24 months to realign itself, become a lot more professional, stop inadvertently doing things they know they shouldn't be doing, or in some cases deliberately do things they know they shouldn't be doing. And as part of that, we'll get better results and we'll get better things going forward. I still actually think there is likely to be an implosion of the market to some extent. I think we're going to lose a lot of people selling CBD over the coming months. Not because the market isn't there, but because some of the smaller people that don't want to comply are having to comply. And I think that because some of the bigger companies that are out there have gone, oh well, we could just make some money at this, have gone, actually we're not making quite the money we thought we were, and they're going to step backwards from the industry as well. They're going to leave a good set of people behind.
Just in your opinion, just wrapping up here, what do you think? Do you think there's a good benefit for the CBD participants here at this program?
Definitely. I mean, from what I've seen, most people want to understand the rules. The European market is not the easiest place to understand the rules in. There are 28 countries making up 28 different sets of rules and 28 different opinions, but they're all supposedly able to work together under European law. And the overriding factor is that what I see is that the companies that are here want to understand the rules, they want to understand how to do things properly, and they're actually in a place to get some of the best advice that they could possibly get.
Very well. Well, thank you, Mike, for taking the time here. I know you've been having a busy morning talking to all the participants here today, so I just want to thank you for taking some time here today, and thanks for coming.
Not a problem. Thank you very much.